Hello and welcome to the MA Review of the Week. The Morning Advertiser's Ed Bedington, and with me today I have the somewhat cross Steve Alton of the BII. Steve, it's been quite the week, hasn't it?
It is. Yeah, hi Ed. An appalling week for the nation's pubs. I don't think there's any way of sugarcoating that. The comments and the supportive tone we've had from government have just been completely undermined. And not matched with action. So, the decisions that were made on Wednesday are material. We all heard what was said. We all saw some of the broader media reflecting this long-term reduction in business rates. And the reality is entirely the opposite. The vast majority, and I do mean the vast majority of pubs will be paying more for business rates. And, we interviewed, or an interview was given with the Chancellor a few weeks ago, if you remember, at the party conference, and she was challenged with some of our data actually from our members. 1 in 3 were only making a profit, predominantly because of the NICS change and the doubling of those business rates, and 35% feared they'd have to close if more taxation came. So Sally Nugent, who was interviewing, really was clear about the cumulative pressure they were under, and was looking for some reassurance that pressure would be relieved. And the Chancellor was explicit that it was business rates was the answer. A reform of business rates to specifically help and give a break to pubs at the heart of the community. And she's done absolutely the reverse. So we can get into the mechanics of rating, but the outcome was to lower the unfair bills that our members' pubs pay, because they are bricks and mortar businesses. And they haven't squared up the economy. They haven't challenged the digital versus the physical businesses. And the one thing we needed to see is a reduction in the cumulative pressure. And they've added to it. In addition, wage costs, as you know better than anybody, it's not just about entry level. It's all about all the differentials that then have to be applied to keep that team happy and in place as well. So it's a compound impact to the site. You are causing a disincentive now to employ young people as they harmonise the rates as well. And unfortunately, you've seen some, really heartbroken operators who themselves started at a young age within pubs and given their first opportunity and now running, complex, successful pub businesses. And they're going to turn away from those younger workers because, and I've had it from multiple sources, they'll take something with a minimum of 2 years experience because they haven't got the time now to put the wrap around them that they would have done traditionally. Now, this is not universally true, but it is going to hamper, the opportunity for young people and broader employment. Again, last time we had NICS and business rates go up, 75% took hours out, and just under that took headcount out as well. So, yeah, I mean, the business rates is bad enough, and we're still trying to make sense of an incredibly complicated suite of mechanics in terms of what that bill actually will be. There's going to be some transitional relief, but that's just sweetening, a pretty horrific outcome.
Let me put it in it's rolling the turning glitter, really, isn't it? Let's be honest. Yeah. There's no better way to put it. You're basically sugaring something. It doesn't make a difference. Bills are going up. You're just staggering the time it goes up on.
Correct.
Which isn't doing anything to take the pressure off.
No, that's it. So you've got to deal with, wage increases. Duties going up as well. So there's going to be more supply chain pressure on drinks costs coming through. We know from so many operators that they feel they've maxed out on price increases. They will cause a drop in demand if they push it much further. And the frustration right now, demand is strong. Pubs are busy. Christmas is looking good. There was obviously a bit of a wobble for a while just on those final bookings because of the uncertainty around the budget. Incredibly cynical to do it this late. But we know those pubs are going to be full, vibrant, fabulous experiences. We're all going to be down there, and they do a fantastic job. So I think, we've got a couple of reactions here. One is get down the pub, if I'm being brutal, go and support them, and show them how much we actually care about these amazing places. But secondly, we're going to double down on government, and we're going to call them out for what they are, which is, at the most politest I can do is disingenuous on their statements of support versus actually what they've done. And they are balancing the country's books on the back of small businesses, SMEs in every community. We've got members now, they're working unsustainable hours because the job cuts they had to put in previously. And they were looking for that little bit of a shot in the arm, a bit of positivity to drive them forward. And yet again, we're fighting a rearguard action to try and get them to recognise the ridiculous nature of what they've done. They're going to reduce our growth, they're going to reduce our employment opportunities. It's completely counteractive to their stated aims about social mobility and getting people working again. AI has been a big feature the last few weeks. AI inevitably in some more mechanical sectors is going to reduce the number of employees. Hey, guess what? Who could have given those guys amazing career pathways, right, and taken them on, irrespective of their experience or background, and given them the care and professional development, and propelled them on their way. But you just switch the taps off with a sector that has got such a proven track record of doing this. Ed, we did our National Innovation in Training Awards only last week. We had 6 apprentices we recognised. These are phenomenal individuals that most of them didn't have great attainment from secondary school, but huge potential. And they are flying. We've got young people, 23-year-old running a huge unit for Brewhouse and Kitchen, Alex, amazing. Just that's what we do so brilliantly. And they're turning away. And I think our emission from the industrial strategy is horrific in terms of.
It's criminal. It's absolutely criminal, and it's being used, and it's the gift that keeps giving, isn't it? The apprenticeship thing. We're out of that because of it. It's horrendous.
So yes, I mean that initially was, I think people perceived it as just being lack of recognition of our contribution. As you say now, there's starting to be a differential of support given to organisations and companies within the industrial strategy group, and the rest of us. Even though that 54 billion that we're contributing as the wider hospitality is paying for the social agenda of this country, right? They are actively trying to switch us off before the new economy's built, and we were always an and economy, not an or. You can have a fabulous tech sector, innovative, all that thing. Rachel Reeves' comments about entrepreneurs at the start of her speech gave me a little bit of this is going to go in a positive direction. Those that put their savings into business. God, our members have put everything into their business. We've just reported with the other trade bodies. There's no reserves left. They've got COVID debt. We've got a lot of operators with time to pay with HMRC. They needed a shot of resilience. Resilience is our greatest strength, and I think that resilience is being exploited by this government, who thinks we can keep taking a hit after a hit after a hit, and we're out. We've run out of that, but it could be reversed so quickly. That's the frustration. We know if they wake up about the reality, and we have to make them feel that reality now. So these MPs locally, I know the skepticism sometimes with licensees, particularly. We have to get them into those pubs. We have to share the reality. We have to get their customers on board, their suppliers on board, their team members on board, and make this a real issue that it is. Because if we don't do anything, we said in our survey, or our members said 35% would close their doors. It could be worse than that if this continues on this trajectory, and we're losing not just a social asset, Ed, but this is an economic asset. That's the frustration.
I think the temptation is to roll over at the moment, isn't it? And pull up the drawbridge and give up, because we're fighting this. We've been fighting this fight. It's not going our way.
No, but we're absolutely not rolling over and giving up. And I know from speaking to members both online and direct over the last 24 hours, look, we will fight this. We will fight this. There has to be a realization. This is not a really complicated debate. This is about them being, straightforward and investing in something that's going to give them a return. This is not a complicated thing. The industrial strategy is great, and I'm a technologist by background. Before I came to the sector, I know we want to be leading in that space, but I come back to it's the and economy. We are the day-to-day economy in every single community, providing essential skill jobs, essential community services where not many others exist, and we deserve investment, because investment will give a return. But for some reason at the moment, there's an incredible blind spot about not just pubs, but small businesses, SMEs, that actually are the innovators, they are the entrepreneurs, they are the guys that put everything at risk, and probably operate beyond normal economic lines because they care so passionately about doing something with social purpose. And that deserves to get their backing. So, the MPs that we've managed to engage get it and have been very vocal, but there's just not enough of them. We've got to get, every MP, and that includes the MPs that happen to be ministers, to face up to what's going on in their local communities.
So, message out is to keep fighting.
keep fighting, but also we're going to do, particularly as the BII, keep sharing those amazing stories of why pubs matter, from the the employment opportunities and transforming people's lives through to the community impact they have. And we're going to shout from the rooftops louder than ever about why this absolutely matters, and this is not just some kind of consequence or collateral damage of this much smarter economic growth that we think is going to come. I think it's misguided. I don't think it's grounded in reality, and we're going to make that lead. But look, short term it's a call to arms. Get down the pub. If everybody's feeling as I do about this, best thing you can do is get down your pub. Take your friends, take your family, mate. Every single life event, get down there, get your business meetings in there. Do whatever you can to support them. If we can get that top line going as well, that's a good way of giving them a little bit of resilience against some of these headwinds that are heading our way. In the meantime, we need to get our chins out, and as a collective industry now, that means every single body that works in this industry, not just the trade bodies, everybody together collectively making a case, because it's very clear. And I think we need to galvanise the anger that we've heard this morning. But right now, look, our operators are going to switch gears, and the doors are opening now for many, and they'll be greeting their customers with a smile. There's a lot going on behind that smile, but they're passionate about delivering that. So get out and support them. And yes, we'll fight again. This will happen, Ed. It's just so frustrating that there could have been one little concession to build that little bit of resilience and a bit of a shot in the arm to say, actually, you keep saying great things about pubs politically, now match it with some action, and you've done absolutely the reverse.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Steve, we are out of time, but thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thanks, Ed.
So there you go. Get down the pub. That is the part of the key to this, and let's keep that fight going. We will be back next week with more reflections on the week's news.